What is the most recognizable part of a fountain pen? Yeah, it's the nib. It's also the most important part of the pen, so in celebration of the mighty nib, we're going to check out what I consider to be the most nibtacular nibbage that I could find. Nibs that possess a nibesque nibbiness that I would nebulously describe as nibnificent. We're going to start with some nibs that we sell here at the Goulet Pen Company, and then I'll branch out a bit. These are all my highly subjective and superficial choices in no particular order. Let's go. I'm going to kick things off with the tiny but mighty LAMY 14 karat gold nib. This can be found on all versions of the LAMY Dialogue and the Palladium and Piano Black version of the LAMY Studio. The shape is identical to the other LAMY nibs, but looking at them together, you're like, whoa, the rhodium plating is just blindingly gorgeous. And you've got just enough gold exposed along the tines to really give it some pop. And yes, you can buy these separately and put one on your old neglected LAMY Safari. And don't let anyone tell you that that's impractical. Namiki's Mount Fuji nib can be found on all of their currently available fountain pens, and they're all gorgeous. I want to focus on their two-tone versions though, because the silver-capped gold mountain is breathtaking on another level. And just so you know, if I ever say silver in this video, I'm talking about the color, not the material. Rhodium is what gets plated onto the natural gold to create the silver color. Anyway, it's a nib that has a clear and direct connection to Japan and the reverence of Mount Fuji itself, which in part is clearly and directly connected to the design of these pens. As an added bonus, once you get up to the Yukari Royale and Emperor sizes, this nib gains a unique oval-shaped breather hole, which I inexplicably get very excited about. Perhaps even more recognizable is the Pelikan nib, specifically, yes, the M1000 two-tone 18 karat gold nib. This is a beefy nib with an equally beefy feed, yes, but the iconic nib imprint. Take a look. It showcases brilliant detail that is immediately recognizable to generations of fountain pen users and remains to this day striking. Literally, it doesn't actually strike you, but there's definitely a something when you see this thing in person for the first time, and a good something, like a dolly zoom. The Pineider Quill nib is just niblicious. At first glance, you're already treated with an unconventional profile, right? These scoopy gouges on the side of this 14 karat gold nib look great, and they might provide some extra flexibility, but we're just going for looks today. Going up from the scoopy gouges, we see an incredibly detailed Pineider crest and a fan-shaped breather hole. Looks almost like a ginkgo leaf a bit, maybe. Regardless, everything about this nib is beautiful, but what I love most about it is its general shape. The imprint is phenomenal, but I find that the tines converge in a beautifully narrow arc that's uncommon in the very best way. This is one of the two nibs on this list that got me really excited. And frankly, Platinum's President nib simply does not get used enough. Luckily, we do currently have it available in one variant of the Izumo, the Rodden Galaxy. This nib has been a personal favorite of mine for a long time. Initially, I believe it was only available on the Platinum President fountain pen, which kind of shared its Art Deco style with its nib. These days, the President nib only shows up here or there, which is a shame because look at it. Boom, President. Heart-shaped breather hole, gorgeous rhodium triple chevron. It's a winner. For Sailor, I want to sit down and spend a moment with you looking at the 1911 King of Pens Naginata Togi nib. So this imprint is lovely, though fairly common. You can get something similar in the King of Pen models with gold hardware. That's where you'll find the two-toneness happening with gold hardware. but the 1911 written out won't be gold like it is here. Plus, Sailor has simplified their current nib imprint so that this specific look might not return. Regardless, its nibbage is worthy of recognition from us today. And yes, I do seem to be a fan of two-tone gold nibs. But hey, this is not easy to do. The nibs are gold, right? To plate them all over in rhodium is relatively simple, dip. But to only plate a narrow piece of trim, 4 numbers, and a little anchor, that's a heck of a nib achievement. Let me tell you why the ST Dupont Line D nibs are worth gawking over. This time, it's not about the imprint. The face of the nib looks nice, of course, but what makes these nibs special is their curvature. ST Dupont stamps out their nibs in such a way that they can be shaped around the feed. Granted, most nibs do have a noticeable curvature to them, but these are unique in that they effectively obscure the feed when you look at them from the side. I think this is a really slick feature and a detail that often gets overlooked. Here's the other one that I get super jazzed about. The Tibaldi Bononia LE, which is available in honeycomb and pomegranate. This features my favorite nib, I don't know, ever, maybe. Just look at it. Two-tone 18 karat gold adorned with the intricate eagle imprint that covers the entire nib. And if that wasn't enough, you've got a rhodium Tibaldi stamped in a really sharp looking font. And if you look closely, you'll even notice that the tiny little 18K is plated. This design absolutely blew me away the first time I saw it. And I will never get tired of looking at the crazy details on this one. That's pretty. Okay. The Pilot Custom Urushi nib is the evolutionary pinnacle of the Pilot Gold nib. The style of imprint is one that you can find on the comparably small Custom 74, and then from there, you've got several models where that same imprint gets enlarged and stamped onto bigger nibs like the 742, the even bigger 743, and the even bigger 845, where it gains a two-tone rhodium gold look. But finally, the nib evolves into its ultimate form with the Custom Urushi. All of these nibs have a great balance of detail and simplicity, but the gravity of the Custom Urushi's nib is really the final form of the Pilot nib, and its nibulence simply cannot be nibdigated. Now we come to the VAC 700 Iris by TWSBI and its super fun rainbow plating. It's worth nibbing on this one that it's the only stainless steel nib on my primary list here, so bonus points for earning a spot. Anyway, while the 580 model also has a similar iris plated nib, I personally think that the VAC 700R looks a bit cooler because the overall shape is less stout than the 580 version. Either way, this plating, TWSBI nailed it with the iris plating, taking a gorgeous design element and incorporating it into a pen without it becoming too much, Again, my opinion, but I think there's a good balance happening here. Okay, for honorable mentions, don't sleep on Montegrappa's steel nibs. They are easily the shiniest steel nibs on the market today because Montegrappa rhodium plates them, just like they often do with gold nibs, so they look great. Also, Visconti has gorgeous nibs, but unfortunately they no longer do the two-tone plating that they used to, so I didn't quite allow them to qualify using my totally arbitrary and subjective criteria. Finally, Diplomat's two-tone gold nibs look incredible, so definitely check that one out. Currently, we only have that particular gold trim nib available on the Nexus with gold trim. As far as nibs we don't sell, there are too many to mention, but I have to say something. A little while ago, Platinum released a 10th anniversary 3776 Century model with a nib that just looked so good. just delightful. The imprint was incredible. The shape was fantastic. And I hope that they bring this one back on some new pens because I didn't buy one. Once upon a time, we carried a Montegrappa Shiny Lines celluloid fountain pen with a beautiful dove nib on it. So I did want to highlight that and show it to you now. Still, this isn't one of the best Montegrappas, and it's probably one of the best. It's not the best one that Montegrappa's ever done, and I don't think I could ever pick a favorite. They have an archive on their site though, so if you're bored, check out the nibs on their site. Anything made before 2017, that's where you'll see the really crazy stuff, like my friend Elvis here. Obviously, Montblanc not only has an incredible nib on their 149, but on all of their many limited edition pens as well. Apart from that, Otto Hutt has two-tone nibs that are well worth looking at. Graf von Faber-Castell also. You'll find amazing nibs on Denitrio, Nakaya, so many. I wish I had them all to show you, but Freudian slip. I wish I had them all to show you, but all nib things must come to an end. So thank you so much for nibbing, and nib on.